What's up, you guys? Zoe here from oneglancetrader.com, and in this video I'll be walking through how I make passive income every single week using the OGT stock cash flow system. And you guys may remember that I released a video a few weeks ago that goes into all the detail about how this system works and what I wanted to do based on the feedback, a few questions and comments that have come in. I wanted to kind of create this live for a brand new account for the purpose of YouTube, so you guys can watch me and follow step by step. And I encourage you guys that if this is a system that you're interested in, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe, because I'll be doing update videos on this so you guys can see how this kind of grows as the weeks and the months go by. And we're starting with a very small amount of money of $4,000, so we're not going to be making huge amounts of passive income every single week. But as you compound and invest those premiums into other stocks, which then you can go sell covered calls on, then that snowball effect starts going in. So that's what we're going to go through in this video, and walk you guys through some of the elements, and also touch on some of the questions and comments that I've been getting as well in a bit more detail. So if you're brand new and have no idea what the OGT stock cash flow system is, I would recommend watching this video. But effectively what it is that I'm probably going to show this little screen over here. It all starts with what I call a cash cow stock. And what a cash cow stock is where you invest your money into this cash cow stock by selling options, and then you sell options to generate a premium, and where you could use that premium to go get cash flow, passive income, pay your bills, do whatever you want with that money. But what this system teaches is that you invest that premium and buy shares in companies that you like and you want to own, with the goal of getting that stock up to 100 shares. So then you can start selling more options, or in this case, covered calls on that stock to generate more passive income, right? And it's like well, I call it like a pyramid scheme of stocks, really, where you just keep doing that, um, and um, and then your passive income or your cash flow every single week or month, depending on how often you sell the options, just keeps growing, 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 growing until you have enough cash flow or passive income where you can then start using some of that to pay bills or go on holiday, do whatever you want to do, until you're satisfied with the amount of shares that you've got. So that's the kind of process or the premise, and that's how this section goes in. So my main portfolio, I go into the kind of the stocks and things that I'm doing inside this. But what I want to do is just show you a more scaled down version of this, that I'm currently doing. So as I said, I'm investing 4,000 upfront into this portfolio, and I haven't decided yet. It depends on how this portfolio goes, that I might add in an extra 500 a month into this portfolio, because as I mentioned earlier, the more money you have up front, the quicker and it is to generate a lot more passive income. It's the quicker to get shares that you're buying, to get to 100 shares of said stock that you want to invest in. So again, this is going to be a slow burn process, but you see where the logic comes in, and the reason why I'm doing it with such a small amount, so you can see the incremental steps, so then you can see how it grows over time. So my cash flow stock, for those who watch my channel, will know that it's Riot Blockchain. And again, I'm not going to go into why these stocks in a lot of detail, but the main reason, or the main criteria for me for a cash cow stock, is high volatility. Sorry, is high volatility, and that you have to believe in this stock for the long term. Now, Riot is a Bitcoin or crypto mining company. I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin, so I do think when Bitcoin eventually gets out of this kind of consolidation or bear market position, we will get to 100k plus. That coincidentally will make Riot into a $100 stock at some point inside the future, and it's currently trading at $16. So what A, I'm long-term bullish, and B, it gives you high premiums. You can make 1 to 3% return weekly on your money trading Riot, and that's why I love it. So you want a stock that has high volatility and pays you high premiums as a percentage of the amount that you invest, because the lower the premiums or the safer the stock that you want to do this on, the longer it's going to take for you to get to buy enough of another stock to generate those 100 shares. So so what I've got here is, and this spreadsheet will change over time as this kind of develops. I just try to do it in a more visual way for the purposes of YouTube, where normally I would probably just do this inside a standard kind of table within the spreadsheet. But what we've got here, we've got the current share price, how many shares do I own, average price, the value of those shares, and the premiums I've collected. So one of the questions that I got is if I had 4,000, do I just go buy, in this case, 200 shares, because that's probably thereabouts, of Riot? You can do that, then there's no problem doing that. But in my view is, if you're going to buy the shares of your cash cow stock, you might as well sell puts below the current price, generate premium, because if the price drops, then you're going to get assigned at a lower price than if I bought the stock at today's price, if that makes sense. So I could buy 200 shares for 15.97, or as you can see over here, I've sold two puts, one at the 15 and one at the 14. $14 and $15. So if I did get assigned those shares and did tank between now and March the 11th, which is next Friday, then I've picked up 200 shares of Riot at a lower price. So for me, when you're first starting out, or I would very rarely buy shares outright in my cash cow stock. What I would do is sell puts on it until you get assigned, and then start selling covered calls on it. That's just my personal opinion. You can go buy, $4,000 worth of Riot if you really wanted to, but that's not how I'm looking to do this. So yeah, so I've got 4,000 in, so that's what 2,900. So I've got 1,100 left, and I thought about it. I could have just sold the $11 put, right, and then put the whole money in, but the premium was like, I don't know, $2 or something like that. So I probably should have just done it, but I didn't do it. So I didn't use up all the collateral. It's available, but when I put in an extra $500 in next month, for example, I'll then have enough then to sell 3 puts, or depending if I get assigned shares by that point, into Riot. So as you can see, what I've done is I've sold 2 puts, 2 weekly puts. I'm going to start off doing weekly puts, the 15 put and the 14 put, where I generated $24 and $45 in premium, which then gave me a total of $69 in premium that I collected. So the cash flow that I've made from my cash cow stock is $69. So the next step of the process is, once you generate any type of premium, what you want to do is really go and invest that $69 into the stocks that you want. And the 3 stocks that I've decided to go for, and I've gone for 3 because I wanted to kind of diverse as much as I can, is SoFi Technologies, FUBO TV, and Robinhood. And there are kind of 3 reasons why I've gone for these stocks. The first reason is if you look at the chart of any one of these stocks, they are 40 to 60% down from its all-time highs. These are growth stocks, non-profitable stocks, and in this current market, small cap, non-profitable companies are not being rewarded currently. So they are absolutely tanked in price, and I'm not buying at 52-week highs. I'm buying at 52-week lows, pretty much, or thereabouts. So I think from a dollar value perspective that these are cheap stocks from there. The second thing is, I do believe in these stocks long term, and people might have different views and opinions, which is fine. But things like SoFi are investing heavily. SoFi Stadium, the amount that they paid to get that branding across that particular stadium, and their business model is pretty sound. FUBO TV, again, sports streaming, again, I think it's a huge business, and the growth in the acquisition numbers year over year is growing. Robinhood is probably the most contentious one that I've decided to go for, but once Robinhood were deciding to go pre-pandemic into the UK and into Europe, and they pulled out for obvious reasons, but I think there's going to be huge amounts of growth because in Europe, I think there is a need for commission-free trading. I think Robinhood can provide that answer or that solution. So I do think they have the ability to grow in other countries. Yes, their growth has stagnated, but again, they're going through bad year-over-year comps with people, the retail investing crowd, etc. So they've got some tough quarters ahead. But once that's out the way, I've got a good feeling about Robinhood for the long term. And and then the last reason is that if you look at the premiums in terms of, as we talked about, the criteria for a cash cow stock in terms of the returns you can make, the percentage returns of selling covered calls on these stocks are still very high. So any stock screener that you look at, or any option screener you look at, you always see Riot, and I always see SoFi. Oh, I always see FUBO. I always see Robinhood. The absolute dollar amount is getting smaller and smaller because obviously the stock price is going down, but the percentage amount is fairly consistent. It's always in the top 10. So when I do reach 100 shares of these stocks, and if they do grow inside the future, I can then still make more percent return on my in terms of selling cover calls on these actual stocks. So those are the reasons why I've gone for these stocks. And like I said, you can see the share price, 10.69, 7.58, 11.38. So you times those by 100, that's just over $1,100. It's $750 and $1,100. So I don't need it. It's not going to take me that long based on how much I've produced in week one to get there. And this goes to the next question people are asking is would you focus your premiums all on one stock to get one stock to 100 shares as quick as possible, or would you split it across the number of stocks, or 3 stocks in this particular example? And I've kind of got 2 views on that. The first one is as you can see here, is I've taken that $69 and I've put $22 in SoFi, $25 in FUBO, and $22 into Robinhood. So I own 1.91 shares, 3.14 shares, and 2.02 shares. And the reason why I've done it this way is I think you have to have some skin in the game in a stock that you like. So if, for example, I don't invest any more into Robinhood until FUBO and SoFi are up to 100, that is absolutely fine. But I wanted to make sure that I've at least got something in Robinhood that I could at least buy 1 share a week in Robinhood, for example, right? Another thing is what you'll probably end up doing is looking at your kind of break-even prices. So at the moment, these are my average costs at the moment, and as you can see, and we'll look at the P&L of these 3 in a second, I'm down on all 3 stocks, right? Very slightly. But let's just say, for example, next week comes by and I get another $50 in premium through my cash cow stock, and FUBO tanks to $6, right? I would probably look of deploying 80% of that $50 into FUBO, right? Because FUBO provides a better opportunity for me to lower my break even. And that's how I'm probably gonna look at. I would advise not really to look at the share price because it's just all about just cost averaging, dollar cost averaging in, and eventually you're going to lower down your basis. But because I've got 3 stocks, I've decided to go with 3 stocks, and the 3 stocks is really for illustration from a YouTube perspective. Probably would have started with around 2. Um, that that yeah, you will find a flow once you start doing this in terms of which stocks to kind of go and invest into. And as we go through this process, I'll give my reasons why I've decided to go into this stock, because if you're having the same challenge and you've picked up $50-$100 of premium, do I just go focus all into one stock? And that's also not a bad move, right? The aim is if you get to 100 shares in FUBO, for example, because it's the cheapest, right? Then I'm generating premium here and I'm generating premium here, which then I can is going to make me get to these points to get these two faster, right? So there is no set rules in terms of how I've designed it. That's completely up to you. If you don't really care, then I would just average in, in this example, 22, 25, 22 across each stock, and just keep doing that every single week. And you'll notice, like, I haven't put like Apple in there or Facebook in there, or stocks that are $100 plus, because that's to get to 100 shares is 20 odd grand. Eventually you'll be earning $200-300 a week in terms of cash flow, to be able to then go buy one share of Apple every single week. And that will be the next step of this. So the next evolution is using this to pump out premiums, get one of these to 100 as quick as I can, and then use that to then pump into the remaining two to get these. So once these all three get to 100 shares, I'm selling covered calls on this weekly. Then I might be generating, this 69 might be generating me $100, which then, a $50-60 stock, you could be getting 2 shares a week of, AMD, for example, or Nvidia, or something like that. So that's kind of where we want to get to, is then get into the bigger stocks, which then have, more growth opportunities, as well as, more covered calls kind of potential. So the last thing I just want to show is that, I am buying these stocks for you. So this is just a snapshot of my account, of the position, so they all kind of match up with what you can see on there. And as you can see that, I am down on all three of the stocks. I'm not really too bothered about it, right, in terms of being down on the P&L, because you've got to remember that this here is cash flow money, right? So that $69 goes into $22 into SoFi. If SoFi doubles to $20 and I make this 22 into 42, I'm making cash flow on my cash flow, right? So this is the beauty of the system. I've not spent any of this $4,000 in buying these three stocks, and that's why I love this system, because this is a long-term strategy of where you're using the cash flow and the passive income to go buy shares that you love or you believe in, whatever those stocks may be, and then you start building out your kind of portfolio. And again, if you're a dividend investor, you can go into dividend stocks. And again, part of me really wants to, start chipping away at something like an AT&T, for example, that has a good dividend. Or Apple's not the best dividends of the world, but you kind of get where I'm coming to. Johnson & Johnson, or Coca-Cola, and all of these, they're not the stocks that I traditionally invest in, but who's to say that I can't build up the cash flow that I invest $20 a week into Coke, right? And eventually I'll get up to 100 shares over time. So, but my cash flow is still spinning through, and then, when it might take me 3 years to go get 100 shares of, Coke or Apple or something, but I didn't spend any of my own money. I didn't spend any of this money to go acquire Apple, right? And that's where I want everyone to get to. And then, once you get to that point, you're making enough, like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week or a month or whatever it may be, and then you can start living off that potential thing, because you can't live off $4,000 and you can't live off $69, right? But what you can do, invest that $69 and then make that money work even harder. So all I'm doing is making this $69 work even harder by appreciation of stock, and then eventually selling covered calls. Because when the satisfaction of, selling a covered call on SoFi, and I might only make $10, let's say, weekly on SoFi, that $10 was born from this. And that's just a great satisfaction feeling as well, to kind of generate that passive income. So again, I'll link to this video now inside the end screen. Please go check that out. Any questions, comments, please let me know. I shall see you guys in the next video.